And the latest calls for these protests are from Kalonzo Musyoka, the Wiper Party leader, and Moses Wetangula, the Ford Kenya chief. Now we all know that these two individuals are struggling to get a foothold in the opposition in the country, so as to be recognized as major opposition figures, to fill in the shoes of Raila Odinga, who went into a handshake and is now in a very close union with the government of the day. A union that is so close that now it tends to defend even controversial moves by the current government. A case in point, the Huduma number. Now I agree with ODM that it is laughable for anybody to say that Odinga has sabotaged the opposition. It is laughable. Why? Because nobody has stopped anybody from stepping into Raila's shoes. But the truth is, Raila's shoes are way too big for the other minnows. I'm sorry, I'll just call them that because that's what they are, to be able to fit into those shoes. So the only way they've been trying to get traction so far is by criticizing Raila and giving the impression that Raila has blocked any opposition to the government in the country, which of course is laughable. Nothing like that has happened. The only thing that has happened is that there's nobody with enough clout to step into those shoes. In fact, it's very interesting because all the other so-called opposition leaders have been trying to ride on Raila Odinga's popularity. What they've been trying to do is what Mwai Kibaki successfully did in 2002, where he managed to position himself in such a place that Raila Odinga uttered those famous words, Kibaki tosha. And the election was over even before it started. And so clearly, what Kalonzo Musyoka and the Wetangulas of this world have been doing is riding on the back of Raila and trying to position themselves somewhere where Raila will utter those magic words, Kalonzo tosha or Weta tosha. Anyway, the big news is that finally, people like Kalonzo Musyoka and Moses Wetangula have finally manned up enough to try and gather their own opposition support in their own right. And one of the ways of doing this is by reading the mood in the country and riding on a popular political wave. Now everybody knows the current popular political wave in the country is anti-corruption. And so Kalonzo and Weta recently told Kenyans that they're giving the president up to the end of May. If key corrupt figures are not behind bars, they will organize protests right across the country, from Mombasa to Western to Nyanza to everywhere. Now politically, I see a major problem with this strategy, this new Kalonzo Musyoka strategy. And it is this, just do an experiment one day. Actually, don't do it. Just imagine it because it's very cruel. Take a bird of the air that flies and try and put it inside water. It'll drown terribly. Or take a fish and try and get it to fly. The aerodynamics alone will bring it down faster than a stone. What am I saying? Kalonzo Musyoka has never been associated with protests. In the few protests that he has taken part in, they have been very safe protests. And even then, Kalonzo Musyoka has completely looked out of character and out of place. The man is a diplomat. And trying to picture Kalonzo Musyoka leading protests successfully in the country is like trying to imagine a fish flying or a bird swimming underwater. And already, this can be seen very clearly from their pronouncements. When did you hear Raila Odinga saying that I give so-and-so, I give the government up to the end of this day, and then we'll start street protests? And that date is almost over a month away. What the man on the ground sees immediately, the suffering ordinary Kenyan, who is listening to what you're saying, and it's ringing true as far as he's concerned, what he's seeing in you is an attempt to delay that protest for as long as possible, hoping that you will not have to do it. That's really what it is. If you're serious with protests, you will tell people, starting from tomorrow, starting from next week, we're on the streets. Diplomacy and protests, peaceful protests, don't go together. But the reason why the latest call for protests is very worrying is that Kalonzo Musyoka and Wetangula are not the first to call for these protests, to remove corrupt leaders out of power. Very many other politicians have made the same call. And even more worrying, the president himself, in one of his speeches, said, or rather warned, that if the government does not handle the fight against corruption properly, wananchi will take the law into their own hands. They will take over that fight by themselves. Make sure you catch part 2 of this video. Look out for a link shortly on the top left-hand corner of your screen. See you there.